Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the Everton Daily Live. It's Tuesday, the 28th of January. There are 6 days to go, John, in the transfer window. We'll come on to that in a minute. But you were at Brighton at the weekend to see Everton win another game.
Yeah,
another game.
Saw some of it.
Sure.
Second half was all up the other end.
Sure. Well, that was it. But that was okay. It was a deliberate ploy. I mean, what did you make of it? Obviously, it wasn't an amazing performance, but from a defensive perspective, it was very good.
Yeah, I mean, you get the vibe when you're in the ground, don't you? And notwithstanding, it was over 100 yards away the second half. I don't know what it looked like on TV. And highlights never show you, really, do they? But they just didn't do enough to score, did they? Penalty, again, it was up the other end, so we wouldn't know until you see it on the telly. And what surprises me is people who can't, not people, but, the general thing about it was clearly a subjective decision, because clearly the handball was not subjective because it was handball. It was just then whether the man handled the ball because he got a little bit of a nudge or not. It could have gone either way. I never think if we hadn't got the penalty, it'd stayed 0-0.
Yeah.
So maybe that's that little bit of luck that in the past we haven't had. We certainly don't get it enough. But I think, the away end enjoyed it. So it was good to see everyone happy again. And, of course, Moisey got a few sing-songs for him. Yeah. And he completely and thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's just quite refreshing, both. He's clearly put some team spirit in there that was lacking in the latter days of the previous manager. And that's part of his motivational approach, isn't it? Which we're all in this together, the enemy's on the outside, all that sort of stuff. And, of course, we've had the expected and consistent splattering of players. Was that right?
Smattering.
Smattering, no, it's splattering.
Splattering is a different thing.
Yeah. Smattering of players coming out saying it's quite refreshing. We're allowed to attack now. So let's see what happens when a defeat comes along, if indeed it does, but not this weekend, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have already lost the game under him, of course.
Yeah, that was in the intermission.
But that, to me, I'd seen enough in that game to suggest that
we chatted,
things were going to turn.
Yeah. We all, I think, sorry, you can't vote for everyone. I think many of us, you're left thinking, well, we've lost. And again, it was individual error stuff. But you could see it was different. And then, of course, we built on that over the next couple of games. I mean, I joked, as we talked on here, didn't I, about Pete Moll when they battered us. The last time they had a clean sheet, Man United, was against us. And I said, you won't play Everton every week. And when we beat Tottenham, I said, we won't play Tottenham every week either. But he's still not long in, is he? So, and he does need to get a few bodies over the line in this week. Or what's the day? Is it next
Monday?
Next Monday,
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, yeah. And with a game in between, you'd like to think much of the work's been done now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that was just James walking right in front
randomly
of the camera, just show you the way.
Well, let's look at the size of him. He couldn't do Ned's crawling on his.
He could try.
Don't put me trying.
I think he could do it. I think in the art of professionalism, you could. And ask James
say, excuse me, or
easily.
Or he could have done that before we started.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Look.
Alfie boy.
Well, to that shy bloke who come through the door a couple of months ago.
Alfie boy on the super chat says, starting to get very worried because it's all so quiet.
Actually, again, we have our Tuesday businessy meeting, don't we? Keeping the lights on type stuff. And I think just Moyes has just plugged the leaks. Really, if he doesn't tell anyone what he's doing, no one knows. So it's, I mean, you can take it both ways, can't you? I mean, we all know the latter days of a January window can be fraught with comings and goings. Let's wait and see. I know people don't like it when I say that, but that's all you can do, isn't it? We can speculate. We know what we need. I think Moyes has indicated in his pressers he knows what we need. He then reaffirmed that after the injuries that, well, before that we knew we needed bodies. So it'd be a major shock of your predicted 2 or 3 don't come through the door in the next week, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Emma who's a YouTube member, says it's the school of silence. I like it. I like it, Emma.
There's a song here somewhere. The Brozier thing looks, surely that'll all turn out sensible, won't it? And he'll go back to Chelsea.
Yeah, I think
it's just that Chelsea want, presumably, us to take one of theirs in that loan slot, not free her up somewhere else, you know, because they've got, presumably, have to be as cautious as they can around the PSRs of this world. And, you know, they want to get something out as well, and they know we're in need, I suppose.
Well, it's Chuck Wamecha, Dewsbury Hall.
One of them, do you reckon?
Ben Chilwell, people have mentioned, but I'd be surprised when Moyes didn't seem that interested in the left-back situation. I think that's one for the summer.
We've talked, haven't we? It's priorities. That's the last one you would do, isn't it? We need other places, and Mangala and DCL have brought focus on that, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Because Mangala presumably will go, but we were okay with international loans, weren't we, anyway?
Dad says, I think we're holding out for the summer due to PSR. I don't. But all opinions are valid.
It's certainly not due to PSR, because that deck has been cleared. Sadly, they cleared it for everyone, not just us. So us and Forrest can argue it's some disgruntlement that we got the rough end of a stick. But there's headroom there, and there's cash there as well. Probably, you know, you're, if you like, persistent and consistent. You know, we can get deals over the line if we can satisfy the commercial terms. I think we've got more relief now than we would ever have had under the previous owner to get deals over the line. Hence why we've talked on the channel about it. It all comes on now on the recruitment team. However, the arrival of Mr. Moyes means he's part of that recruitment team. And I've had mates this morning saying, I hope he's not going to be the old-fashioned dithering Dave, but he knows what he needs, and hopefully he'll get it over the line.
I mean, the old-fashioned dithering Dave got us some unbelievable players.
You never see the ones he didn't get, though, do you? Yeah. So that's the thing. But yes, we'll know by the quality, and he does have his hand on it, doesn't he? And you know, and he'll know exactly not just the positions, but the types of players he wants. Yeah. And just trust in him for now. That's all you can do.
John Vance says Stonewall penalty. Veltman should have been sent off.
Oh, yes, he had that in our WhatsApp group. I don't subscribe to that. I don't know what you think, Baz.
I don't. For what reason would he have been sent off?
I don't know, John. John can tell us, but I guess he's saying deliberate handball. But
double jeopardy.
That's what I mean. I'm with you. I'm with you. So, John, tell us why he should have got sent off.
Yeah.
So that'll come round in a minute, I suppose. Yeah. But.
Yeah, I don't know what Stefan Boring is saying, Emma, to be honest. She's just put Stefan Boring chatting wham again about our finances.
He's an idiot, right? Yeah. Because he's just got an agenda of some description, and you know, he talks sense sometimes, but maybe he just knows what works for clicks. Maybe he's been on the radio, and you know, people want stories.
He's diminishing returns, isn't he?
Totally.
You can see his light going on.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And he's trying to get the last bit of it.
But he's not even one of the usual suspects that the mainstream would default go to. You know, they'll go to Kieran Maguire before him every day of the week. And of course, the guy who really knows, Swiss Ramble, no one goes near because he's not interested in, you know,
in the limelight,
celebrity, if you like. You know, just subscribe to Swiss Ramble and read his stuff. It's all there in black and white, yeah.
Benny says, good to see it on the overlap, Baz. Everton, Leicester and Forest got a combined 10 minutes. The other hour was spent talking about the usual Super League.
You predicted this?
That's all it is, though, isn't it, Everton? Whether we like it or not, we're not big news, are we? We're not big news.
It's the big audience, really, surely, yeah.
No, but that's it. It's just click.
And didn't the guy who owns that thing play for Man United? Yeah, maybe that's
just
part of it as well.
It's clickbait, isn't it? It's Liverpool, yeah. Manchester United. Whether United are in a relegation fight or not, it's them. It's Tottenham. It's Arsenal, Chelsea. It's always the same. It's not going to change unless Everton somehow forced their way into that and started winning trophies or something.
And when was it? Was it yesterday? Okay. So Forest had been battered, so there wasn't even an excuse to talk about them, was there? Other than saying, "Oh, by the way, they lost," you know, because they're doing a great job.
But they just follow. I mean, I would never have a go at them for it. They just follow the clicks, don't they?
Of course,
it's just a business model, isn't it? So
well, that's what media is all about. You know,
that's why you've got this to talk about Everton.
Yeah.
Toffee says Rashford talk was half the show. Yeah, it did go on. It did go on, to be fair.
Be funny if he's still there when the window closes. Barcelona are going to leg him over, aren't they, on money?
Yeah. Emma, what channel was it on? Just I don't. Just let me know what it was on. I don't know what it was on. Here. Damien says, all right, Baz and John, hope you have a grand day. Nice one, Damien, you
Good
too.
one.
Alan says, securing the left-back from Chelsea is absolute key. He's a Moyes full-back, we'll see more goals. But I don't know whether it is key in this window for him, Alan. And also, he's injury-prone, and he's on 200 grand a week.
That's mad, isn't it? That 200k. It's mad, isn't
Because
it?
when he bought him, he was hot property, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was hot property. Oh, okay. Fair enough, Emma. That's an irrelevant channel anyway, isn't it? So take no notice. No, it is. It is totally irrelevant. Let's have a look on Prem. I mean, how many are we thinking, John? 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Because there has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the manager wanted 2 or 3. Well, he wanted 3 before we got these 2
and
injuries.
we've just lost 2. Okay, one may come back towards the end of the season, but that's, he needs 2 or 3. And you can't just say, oh, well, players are coming back from injury either, because particularly the centre-forward position, that's it, the hardest one to fill and the one that will really suffer if they don't fill it. But whether that can be bundled up with a Beto getting his wish to go and play somewhere else, I don't know. So then you start adding another one on then, don't you? If Beto goes out, you want 2 forward players, don't you?
Gary O'Brien said, good morning. David says, good morning. Thoughts on a Sterling loan? Well, we'd have to get rid of Breuer. They'd have to recall Sterling from Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then loan to us, wouldn't he? Breuer will go back. And I just see them wanting Dewsbury Hall or Chuck Womaker or someone to come to Everton and just to get games, really. Maybe Chilwell, but I think we need attacking players more so. And I think that's what David Moyes has sort of said, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. Josh says, afternoon, guys. Baz, you were brilliant on the overlap. Can't wait for it to be your turn to do that quiz. Don't put pressure on, mate. Although, to be fair, the Leicester quiz, I got about 8.
What was the quiz? Just asking
10.
stuff?
They just asked someone, like, 10. Well, they had 90 seconds.
Oh, right.
To ask.
How many questions did you get through? What about this season, history?
No, just anything.
Oh, any subject, not just...
No, your own club, but it could be anything. Juan says, hello. John Buchanan says, at least a striker, surely, coming in. Yeah. David Goondry says, so close to 100,000 subscribers. Let's get it done.
It's been going.
Thank you very much.
We win a bloody game and it goes,
Everton win a couple of games and people start wanting to watch
so much for those people who say we want us to lose because you get more views when they lose.
Where are we on here?
It's 94,
480, yeah. So 520 from 95, nice.
95.
So 5,500, outstanding. Tom Max says, hi lads, do you think Everton and specifically David Moyes has his transfer targets identified and agreed, therefore there's no need for supporters to be worried about getting players in? I hope so, and will be made up if he managed to get Ferguson in. Maybe Seamus and Jake could have a word in the big lads here. I don't know. I mean, listen, Everton, I'm sure, would like a look at Evan Ferguson, but if you're him, would it be better to just go to West Ham and play for Potter?
Who you might know.
Or do you go and come to Everton because of Seamus Coleman and Jake O'Brien? And go, we'll go here, I'll go here and have something a bit different. Or do you go abroad? Or do you go to Bournemouth? They were looking for a striker and they were really good. We could get a move there. I think out of 3, if I was him, I'd go to Bournemouth, out of 3. But then I'd probably would I go to Potter with West Ham or Everton? interesting one, I think.
It is.
After next weekend, there could well be a point
Would you
between
go
the
to
two
Bournemouth knowing the manager probably will go not long after you get there, perhaps? Yeah.
Possibly.
You know, if you're going to go to a club for the manager, then you would go to Potter, wouldn't you?
Spurs are saying Andrew's going nowhere.
Well, of course they would. Yeah. Let's see what happens when they get knocked out the League Cup. So it's a difficult one, isn't it?
We'll see. RCO2 says, thoughts on my perfect window. Saints, Borgia Sansa, Norwich or Newham. Loan swap Breuer for the Dewsbury Hall. And loan with options to buy Tierno Barry or a Kitike for big money in the summer. Do you mean go and get a Kitike in the summer? Because he scored at the weekend, didn't he? We're not getting him now. I don't think. He likes Ricardo and Emiliano Martinez.
There's a chronology of events, isn't there? This window, announce a decision about the director of football, get ready for the summer, and then execute effectively and relatively early. Clearly, the MO is going to be younger players, which will bump up against the manager because he'll want more short-term stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how their personalities play out, but to be candid, if Kev couldn't cope with Dyche, he ain't going to be able to cope with David Moyes, is he?
Dan W says, trying to stay optimistic, but from the outside it doesn't look like we're after anyone. Yeah. But a few players with contracts expiring, I'd take a risk on. Hernandez from MLS, quick and 25. Ukucho, good player, but not. I mean, when he was at Watford, he scored a few. He did score against Arsenal. I think he might have scored against Liverpool. I think Premier League, he needs to play off someone. He's not. He can't play up in a one. And Rooney Badsy from Copenhagen. Well, everyone was after him until he got his knee injury, weren't they? So you'd have to see what he's like after his knee injury. But they're both decent players, definitely. Buck says, Moyes proved that Jake O'Brien is a Premiership player. Yet another masterstroke. Adam says, not expecting to name names, but are you hearing any whispers of players in particular? Nothing out of the ordinary at the moment, but I'm glad. I think as we come towards the end of the week, there'll be a few more, I think. Yeah. Nothing official on Dom or Mangala in at the moment. Doesn't look good for either of them, though, to be fair.
Planning assumption, neither of them are going to be available anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like months. Yeah.
Martin says, doesn't seem to be any credible links to players likely to happen. Be a shame not to support Moyes with a couple of players looking likely. We'll have to go with what we... I don't know where people have got this assumption from with 6 days to go. Now, if you're a young fan and you don't remember David Moyes, then fair play. David Moyes, a lot of times, doesn't do his business till the last 48 hours of a window. And would even say in his last one, I'm done. And then would go and speak to people at the club with 3 hours to go and go, actually, I want him and him. And they'd have to scrap around for 3 hours to get them over the line. 6 days out, when he's openly said in 3 press conferences, we're after players. Just let it play out. Beto's not going anywhere now.
No, I wouldn't have thought.
Not unless Everton can get a couple of strikers. Everton Vikings is getting very, very nervous at the lack of movement for us in the market. Anything other than 3 is failure for me. I don't have faith in the club on this because we failed to get our primary target with pace for 4 windows. Fair play. Duck Do says the year of the dragon ends today. We didn't do much soaring, so hopefully we can slither up the table in the year of the snake. It is the year of the snake. Tomorrow, I think, isn't it?
Don't go there, snakes and ladders.
Benjamin says, great to hear on the overlap. Following on from what the United supporter said about refs, I can't believe that we've got Michael Oliver as our ref for the derby. What could go wrong? What could go right? So you got to ask yourself, haven't you?
Depends who's...
I'll be honest, if we said we've got whoever for the derby, would any of us go, oh, made up, we've got him. There isn't a single referee who is competent in my eyes.
Well,
so,
that's where I would get. I was talking to someone on this the other day. He said, well, just try and pop up with who you think the best ref is. And it's probably him by name.
Yeah.
But that's because he's known, and he's known because of all the things he generally gets wrong, or, you know.
He doesn't like us because he's a Geordie.
That's right,
and they don't like us. But Lee Dixon, don't think it's the former Arsenal right and TV pundit, but it might be. Says, can we send Harrison back? And if so, do you think we will? We can. No, I don't think we will. Adam Doyle says, a huge fan of your Steve Mulhern segment on Round the Tower, Baz. Nearly pissed myself laughing.
It was interesting.
Yeah. Oh.
I meant to ask you, and I'll ask you off thingy, what caused your view?
It creeps me out. It creeps me out massively. Benjamin says, if Chelsea are insisting on having one of their players, how about Nkunku? I'd have Nkunku all day long. All day long. But isn't there something with him going to Manchester United and Garnacho going to Chelsea?
Yeah, maybe.
I think, but I would have Nkunku.
But at least it shows the glimmer they'll let him go. Yeah.
He's not playing, is he?
That's right.
Michael says, no, I'm not going through that, Michael. Eddie says, out the signings we expect to make in January, how many of our permanent versus loans? It depends who they're after, mate, doesn't it? The European, they can get obligation to buy, loan with an obligation to buy. If it's a Premier League one, it's just going to be a straight loan. Everyone else after that is a permanent, isn't it? Depends what's available
and things
and what's worth it.
But the point is, things have to happen to be able to get a Premier League loan. So that might mean you could be forced to buying a player that you might have preferred to have on loan. Now, that's where you really have to be bold to say, no, we're not going to mortgage the future. But if a manager said, I want, and that's where we will really see whether we are, walking the talk on, we're not going to get into a spot that we've been in before. I mean, the summer's such a huge opportunity. Don't dilute it by spending some of your money now unless you have to. And that's a real hard call, isn't it? It's a really hard call. Can you limp through with what you've got? Absolutely not. Can you limp through with two inbound? Ooh, starts getting a bit questionable then, doesn't it? So it's really about, and we talked about it, didn't we? I think we did it in BWB, where every penny spent now is a penny you can't spend in the summer. And clearly there's more value and more control in the summer. But you've still got to be in the league first.
That's the biggest thing.
So inevitably, natural conclusion, we will bring in multiple players in the next week.
Barry says Naya at Strasbourg looks good. Also Pepe from PSV and Jimenez from Feyenoord. Jimenez is very good, or looks very good there, but is he someone Everton would look at? Few of the Premier League clubs have looked at him. Joe O'Brien says so quiet in the transfer window. We need 2 to 3 before the injuries to Dom and Mangala. I think we'll get players in, but still can't help feeling nervous. Well, the nervousness comes because nothing has happened, hasn't it?
True.
The manager said he wants players in, and we haven't got a single one in yet. We knew that the club wants players in and expect the players in early on in January, but a change of manager changes that.
Be optimistic, people. Whoever we bring in will be available for the derby.
You've just got to... I don't know, I'm just looking and thinking...
Superhero time.
You've got to sort
of... Derby debut, hat-trick. Who will it be, Baz?
Saturday's more important at the moment, I think.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You've got to just allow it to play out, I think. I know we all want signings, but signings for the sake of getting signings in doesn't help. And then
no, and that's what I'm saying, yeah.
And if you sign it permanently, these players will then become players who fans are moaning about we can't get rid of.
Absolutely.
So it's difficult. I want players in as much as the next person, so I don't know. I think there'll be big changes over the next few months anyway. But we'll see.
That's true also, yeah.
Lee says, hi fellas, thanks for powering on through the tough times. This channel has kept me smiling and hoping. Up the Toffees from Cornwall, nice one, Lee. Paul Mack says, g'day Baz and John. Do you think that's the last appearance from Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
I don't know. It's really bad timing for him, isn't it? Because one minute we're talking about potential for him to perhaps go in January because we want to get some money. Then you're thinking, no, the manager won't allow that. And then he's going to be injured, we assume, for the remainder of this season. That's a really difficult one. It could be, but I think he'll be back before the end of the season. So I don't know. I'm just decided. But it's concerning to anyone who might want to give him a longish contract that, for all we know, this is the start of what the poor man suffered last time, which would be a year or two potentially, couldn't it, of being in and out?
Only it depends what it is. It was the last one was his thigh was bad.
Yeah.
If this is his hamstring, and he needs surgery, then you have to let that recover. But lots of players have it and they're fine after it.
Yeah,
So,
but not necessarily those who've had a track record with issues.
and keep it
I think the risk for anybody giving him a contract, it almost means it becomes some element of getting paid as you play, doesn't it?
But Ross Barkley got a really bad one. A bad hamstring one, needed surgery, the scar on his legs like that
I've
when
seen
he was
it,
at
yeah.
us. It took it back. He's played tons of games since that without an issue.
But that was it, wasn't it? It was done. It was fixed.
No, but no, but I do think it is, and I get what you're saying. But if it's different injuries, I think that's slightly different. If it was his thigh again, I'd be worried. If I was him, I'd be thinking, calm. You know, you have just got to manage that all the time. At the minute you're showing a bit of red zone, you can't play or train.
If I was the man, right, or the lady, having to put pen to paper on a £25 million contract for him, whether he's free from a transfer or not, and my insurance company is saying, this guy, blah, blah, that has to turn into something that impacts him and the contract that he gets.
I'm sure it will impact them because if he'd have signed for someone in the first week in January,
He'd be going,
they'd have gone, well, he'd have said, well, I played all last season and I've played all the season.
yeah.
I've had no injuries.
Yeah.
The odd game I've missed. But
And I've not
general,
scored because this manager's
whatever.
a dinosaur, sort of thing.
You know, and all of that. Now it's going to be, well,
The negotiation
I had 18
strength.
months and then I've got an injury again,
Yeah.
you know.
But it wasn't an impact one. It was on his own, sort of thing. Yeah, that again comes into play, doesn't it?
Jumping on one, he landed, didn't
No, I get that. But, you know, someone classes into you, you know, someone does a son on you or something, you know, then you say, well, that happens in football. But anyway, let's hope it's not anything like as bad as we all fear. And for him, if nothing else, because he's had a lot of mental turmoil getting back to looking like his best again. And it lasts a couple of games. Shame.
Colette says, I'm in a minority. I like that Moyes keeps his cards close to his chest.
Have you? I don't think you're in a minority. Well, I hope not. Because
I don't know, a lot of people just seem to want
I
anyone.
like the idea that we're not getting rumours, and which of course can turn into stopping deals from happening. Yeah. No deal gets done is more likely to get done just because it's in the public domain. Yeah.
Carl says, I can see us signing Neumann last minute. Who knows? Liam says, whenever I'm having a bad day, I just take a look at what Marseille fans think of Neil Maupay. Lee Brown and Blue says, get Richie back on loan, send Breuer back to Chelsea. Better than to lose than now. Also injured loan for Mangala. Well, he scored in his last two games with Alisson, hasn't he? So for Tottenham, he's their main man now, unless they bring two strikers in.
Solanke's out for a while.
He's out for another 4 to 6 weeks, yeah. So, yeah. Daniel says, I love Richie and would love to see him return one day, but I'm getting really over-reading. People want them to come on loan. This deal won't work. Okay.
Never go back. What's this, Baz?
You say that. No, 2 more minutes. I'll tell you when we're doing it.
Oh, I can see what.
Wormy says Thelwell needs sacking. We have a massive game against Leicester where a win pretty much secures safety. Well, not sure that's it, but Moyes has done his bit. If we don't win, it's because recruitment has failed him again. What do you think?
I don't think that's the case. I think January, anyone who's of a certain age, which probably means over 15, I suppose, knows they're always like this. Everything goes long, particularly when there's games. There's, a league game for everyone this weekend. And then, of course, you've got the FA Cup, so it's, logically, it's a few weeks before the next league game, and the window closes in that gap. Therefore, that's when things happen. You've just said David's MO is he goes 23:59 anyway. We've been there, haven't we? We've gone to bed before now, people saying that's it, and woke up, and where did these come from? So maybe Sky will get one of their legendary days. Who knows?
Stephen Dyer says 25 million for McAtee. Never have to watch the Corey again. Double win and Alan Ball's DNA. Related, isn't he, to Alan Ball? Yeah. He is a good player, McAtee. Everton, I've watched them, and City do look like they may well let him out the door, but I can't understand why they haven't used him more personally. I've said it all season. In the times when they were struggling, he should have been one of them in. But I don't know.
Knows how to finish.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
Works hard. There's a few people going on about McAtee. Roy Nixon said we should be in for Hamza Igmani at Rangers. Well, we have been linked with him, haven't we? I don't know whether they'll do anything with that. Thing with Rangers is they would sell. They need the money, don't they? The money to come in. Who knows? I'm sure David Moyes is really, on the case for getting players in. Oggy says, well, was Thelwell proved right on the O'Brien transfer? Obviously, Dyche put a spanner in the works, not playing him, but as a succession plan, bringing in O'Brien ready to replace Jarrod if he was to leave. Yeah, I think so. I think he did. I think it was a decent sign. He's not sort of Branthwaite's level, but he's a more than capable defender. He's big, powerful, not slow, good on the ball.
If you looked at the big picture, you would say him starting to get more game minutes towards the second half of the season makes sense. I think the real issue Dyche had was all the people who would prefer to play rather than give him some minutes.
He said he only played the player he likes. That's what Dyche said with his words.
Yeah.
So Young, who was 40, would play over a 23-year-old with a long career ahead of him.
Yeah.
Over a fella who, and Ashley Young's done all right, don't get me wrong. But because Dyche liked him, he was going to get the nod every time. So Mike Patterson was never used by Dyche because he just didn't like him. Yeah, Moyes has used him in every game so far. So managers see different things, don't they?
They do.
Steve P says, why are people's heads going over absolutely nothing? I've been massively critical of recruitment, but there's nearly a week left to go, and I fully believe we'll bring in 2 players. People are acting like the window's about to shut in an hour. Not seeing any proper links gives me more confidence that they're actually working on deals behind the scenes. We were being told every day Nonto was happening, and in reality, we never had the money. Yeah, good point, Steve, I think. Listen, social media causes issues in football.
Anxiety, mostly.
It causes problems. It causes people lose their heads. They argue. They create bad feeling amongst each other. They cause stresses for the club. Different things. As good as it is, it's also the worst thing that's ever happened to football, as well as being one of the best things that's ever happened to football in equal measure. Every fan is losing their mind. Every fan. No matter what. If you go on, if you see things, I was at the overlap yesterday.
You mean from different clubs?
Yeah.
Not every fan.
Not every fan of Everton. Every fan from different clubs. I was talking to different people yesterday at the overlap. Got Liverpool fans are losing their mind. Top of the league, we should be spending 200 million now to make sure we win it. Spurs fans, because everyone's injured. Arsenal fans going berserk. United want more.
Forward.
City, even though they've brought 3 or 4 in, want more. Forest, who bring in 1 million players, want more. Everybody will all, because Sky have created this nonsense that you have to buy. I want Everton to bring players in. 100% this window. I trust the manager 100 times more than I trusted the previous manager. Doesn't mean I'm happy with the squad, because there's gaps. There was gaps anyway. The recruitment team, my opinion, haven't been good enough for Everton for years. They've done some decent work, no doubt about it, but how you can get so many windows in without having genuine pace in your team blows my mind when it's a big world out there. But if they've got players they've identified, they're working on them deals, and they're trying to shape them now, and they're not leaking it to the mates so they can leak them on Twitter or put it on Insta, or whoever, agents or whoever it is, players representatives who leak things, then good. Because let's get so far down the line with it, when they're about to sign, it comes out and we can all get excited because it's about to happen. But also, we don't just want to grab, do we? Like you said before, we just go in and grab Danny Ings. Like, Danny Ings, don't get me wrong, might come in and do all right for Everton for a few months, but you're going to pay Danny Ings 2.5 years contract on 90 grand when you look and go, I hope we can get miles better than you in the summer, mate. But you might help us for 3 months. Because that's what Everton would have done in the past. They may still do that this one, but what I mean is, we want to get away from that. We've done that in the past, and then people criticised. We got Tosin and Walcott in a January window. And after a while, everyone was fuming because they wouldn't go. Kicking off because they wouldn't go. Well, why should they have gone when they were on big wages?
See, the thing is, right, and this...
All that being said, I still hope we bring, and I still think we will bring players.
Yeah, but it's fine and dandy for a football club, ours in particular, because that's the one we're interested in, talking the talk about the right way to do things, which is players of a certain age, players with a ceiling. If you can develop them, sell them for a profit, and then you do it again, do it again, do it again. But if the first time, a bit like, you know, the Mike Tyson thing, you get a smack in the face, you revert to, let's have that guy who's played in the Premier League for 5 years and is demanding a 2.5-year contract, even though we only need him for 3 or 4 months, blah, blah, blah. And you, I'll say it, bottle it, and he gets the gig. Then don't be surprised when you go back round that loop again, where you're constrained because you just, you know, burnt a load of your money on players who actually... In your normal plan, come August, you're probably not going to use. So then you're trying to move them on. No one wants to move them on because they're sitting on a 2.5-year contract, as you just said, on $5 million a year. It's crazy. So that's where the risk in decision making comes about. Do you twist or do you stick type of thing?
Yeah.
And in any industry, closing deals is the hard part.
Yeah.
Doing the front end stuff, finding the prospects. Recruitment and so on. So that's, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier than getting the deals over the line. Yeah, and getting the deals over the line is what we've stumbled with. And the reasoning we've been given in the past has been lack of upfront cash and those sorts of things. If we assume, and that might make an ass out of you and me, that isn't going to be a reason this time, then it'll turn out to be something else, won't it? So everyone in the organisation stands and falls about who we get over the line. If indeed we do get players over the line, I think we will. And then it all comes down to who holds sway. Do we end up with short-term deals on players simply because that's the impediment, you know, the requirement of the manager, versus the longer-term stuff of youth and appropriate attributes and things? But it's a week away and we'll know. It's a week away and we'll know.
Let's do it from there.
Trust. You've said it a couple of times, Baz. Just trust in the process for now.
Got to, haven't we? I don't
us worrying about it doesn't make a blind bit of difference, does it?
I'd love nothing better than us to be able to report on players coming in and do a couple of
Let's
videos.
Let's look forward to it then.
On all, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But right now, I am strangely calm about the situation. Because I do think they'll sort something. I think his language has told you they will.
Absolutely right.
I think David Moyes isn't one to... David Moyes isn't one to sort of indicate Everton are going to spend money and buy players if there's no money available. He'd say it looks very unlikely. Even I've seen him sit in press conferences in Moyes version 1 and say there's no real chance of us getting anyone because we've got hardly any money. knowing we were actively still trying to get someone. We didn't. He was right. We didn't have a ton of money, but they were looking at ways. They were actively, and he was expecting it to go through. So seeing him sit there this time going, we need 3 at least, and yeah, well, we're trying to do we know what we want and all that. So I took that as a real positive that they're trying to do something. So I just don't think he'd sit there and say it. I think he'd be quite honest and go, looks really unlikely we're going to be able to do anything, but keep trying and see what. But he hasn't ever once said that or give that 5.
No,
so.
And you said calm then, because he is calm, isn't he?
Yeah,
and that's the voice of experience. And we had a meeting yesterday, and Colin Chong was equally calm. You know, you have to be able to see people across a table and not just hear the words they say, but watch them saying it, right? And none of the vibe there is, "Ooh, you lot are going to get a disappointment next week." Of course, people don't. They shouldn't be shouting from the treetops.
No.
We actually want every club we're seeking to get players from to think that we haven't got 2 pennies to rub together, you know, and we have to really work hard to get the price that they want us to pay and all that sort of stuff. Because anything else runs the risk of overpaying. Of course, you can't be crazy. You know, you can't, you know, because you might have to deal with these people in the future. But yeah, let them get on with it and see what comes out the other end.
Welcome to Daniel Beddoes, who's just become a YouTube member. Thank you very much.
Good man.
Right, on Premier, Toffee TV Premier, we had a prize draw in December. It should have been done in December. It was done in December. We should have announced it. But John's back now. All the games are gone, so we're going to announce the winner. It is a Seamus Coleman signed shirt. So John's got
you want me to get it up? Yeah.
Just like
I did last time?
Yeah, just hold it up to the screen. Just hold it up to the screen to show the folk, the good folk. There you go. So if you're a Premier member, your ears should prick up now. There it is. Signed Seamus Coleman shirt. That's it. No, it's fine. That's it. It's there. There it is. And our winner is Tim Muzio, Muzio. So Tim, you are the proud winner of the Seamus Coleman signed shirt. So you need to get in touch with us. We'll send you a message and we can organise getting this out to you. So congratulations to Tim Muzio. If you're on Premier, we have a prize draw every month. We'll be announcing the winners of just a monthly draw, which is a piece of merchandise out the shop of your choice. There's a second prize of one of our Toffee TV mugs. We'll be announcing that tomorrow as well. And on a quarterly basis, we're going to have a bigger prize. This is one of those bigger prizes. We've got other stuff coming up later in the year as well. So Seamus Coleman signed shirt is on its way to Tim Muzio. So congratulations, Tim.
Good one.
There you go.
Put this back in the box for you.
I can go there. We'll get that organised and sent out to you. Like the last few here. Where are we? There. Andrew Hughes, yes, we will be on all deadline day next Monday, doing our deadline day show on here and, of course, on More Than a Game. If you haven't subscribed to the More Than a Game channel, go over there and do it. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Kevin Johannesson says, is there a possibility Beto can be sold for the club to bring in Ferguson? How much must Beto go for? Enough to make it positive PSR.
How long's he been here?
2.5 years.
So call it 3, just for round figures.
Was it only 18?
I was going to say it can't be because he'd be out of contract otherwise, wouldn't he?
Sorry, yeah, 18 months. So 3.5 years, yeah.
Okay.
To go.
Because he was on a 5-year, wasn't he? So it's been depreciating at 20% a year. If it was 25 million quid, say, then it's gone at 5 million a year, and he's been here 18 months, 7.5. Just take 18 plus.
18, and no one's paying that, I don't think. Torino were looking at 15 million, maybe. So
Might be able to get close to neutral. Close.
James says, Bazzi surprised Boniface wants to go to Saudi. Yeah, I am really, but he's obviously just doing the money thing. I'd buy him. He hasn't played that much. He's got 6 in 10, I think, for Leverkusen this season. I'd have bought him at 20 million when he was available, and that was who we should have gone for. He's gone to Germany, still scored goals. He's going for 43 million. I'd still probably pay that now and do it over whatever. Give him. But there's no competing with Saudi, is there? Everton, I wouldn't be paying them more than about 70 grand a week, that's for sure, and they're going to be paying them about 370 grand a week, so that's why West Ham, who need a striker, probably haven't gone near them as well. Once you're competing with Saudi, then you've got no chance, really. So, yeah. Yeah, I know, the person who said Marseille, it's Nice, isn't it, who would give him Mopai stick. Ian the Blue Spaz and John, would you scrap the January transfer window and leave it to the summer? It's always difficult to get players in, as every club has the same problem. But then what would we do now then? Because we're in desperate need, aren't we? We've lost 2 centre forwards, probably for the season, or well, Dom dependent, isn't it? But Dom will be coming back close to the end of the season. Breuer, again, both back at maybe early May for the last 2 games. And Chimiti, we've known, so we wouldn't be able to replace them. It'd be in a bit of a mess, and we've lost Mangala as well. So
yeah, but those injuries could have all happened.
Oh, they could happen, but
first week in Feb, couldn't they?
Yeah, but why would you? You could scrap it and just have it open all year round.
That's my view, innit?
So, Evan Viking says, thought Moyes got it spot on as well when he said, in a rough and tight game, he's so far making a mockery of what Dyche said, not being able to get the better out of these players, the likes of O'Brien and Patterson. He's just a better manager, isn't he? There's no argument. No one can argue. Moyes is a far superior manager to Dyche. His career shows it. The points won shows it. The trophies won shows it. So, the same way as Carlo's a better manager than Moyes. Some things are just, you can't argue.
And ultimately,
with it,
so those things, beyond the techie stuff of coaching and sports science and all that, is about man management. And he's just different class.
Good managers. Loads of coaches will be good coaches. It's whether they can do the other bits, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
There'll be people who are better at it than Moyes, won't there? You know, and that's just the way it is. Buck says, I don't think it'll be Groundhog Day on the final day like it has been for the last couple of seasons. In Moyes we trust, and TFG. Glenn Watson says, hello from Los Angeles, California. Mr. John, no borders in business plane. Hello, Glenn, if you're in California.
Yeah.
Have a good time. Steve P says, Baz, on the striker situation, I don't know if you agree, but I personally want us to go in a different direction and get a different profile to Calvert-Lewin. Someone who's more of a natural finisher and who can create things for themselves. We've been properly starved of a striker since Lukaku. I just think we need to move on from the whole target man thing. Yeah, absolutely we do. Of course we do. And there is lots. Put it this way, there's not many Dominic Calvert-Lewins out there. So you naturally do move away from that profile anyway, Steve. And that's exactly what the club should be doing, really.
And certainly that seems where David would go anyway, doesn't it? Because the hoofbally stuff disappeared overnight.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. Emma says, Emma YouTube member says, I think most people thought O'Brien was a decent signing. The problem was we chased Nonto all window and wouldn't pay 25 million to Leeds, then spent 15 million on what turned out to be a fourth choice centre-back out the blue. But if we only had 15 million, we didn't have 25. And let's be honest, we got O'Brien with the help of John Textor because he thought he was buying the club. Let's be perfectly honest.
It was a sweetener.
If he wasn't buying Everton Football Club, we'd have paid, in my opinion,
more.
We'd have either paid more for Jake O'Brien or the terms on which we got him wouldn't have been as favourable. That's just my view. Chris says, Evan Ferguson's crocked. We don't need another injury-prone player. He is training again, isn't he? So... Daniel says, just glad we're winning games again. Absolutely, that's the most important thing, isn't it? That we're winning games. Michael, yeah, we know we've got Michael Oliver for the derby. Mendoza from Vancouver says, don't get the hype about Evan Ferguson. One decent season, then beset by injuries. Another Breuer in the making, in my opinion. Yeah, I've spoke to a couple of people in the last 24 hours who are in the football world who are scratching their head at Everton even considering him because of his injury record.
Yeah.
Not that the talent is clearly there if he's been fit, but if he was fit, Brighton probably wouldn't be looking to get him out to get games, would they?
John Van's come back to us.
Dunno. Oh, yeah. What's he said?
WhatsApp.
Okay.
He says, in September last year, the EPL website said, a deliberate handball or foul, such as holding, pulling or pushing inside the penalty area, will result in a penalty kick to the opposition and a red card to the offender.
Interesting.
Which clearly doesn't apply last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So good one, John.
Fair play, mate.
Yeah, fair play indeed.
Sam says Saints from Norwich get the best championship players. Alex says, how come Tim wasn't playing last night for the 21s? Maybe they just, at this stage, don't want to take a chance, Tim. And he has trained all last week. He's training again. Maybe they're just going to sort of... Because he said he would have liked James Garner to play in the under-21s, but he come on at the weekend and then he wasn't involved last night. So maybe he's looking and going, can we risk it right now?
Sports scientists, maybe, saying bit more training with the first team.
Mm. McNeil's another one, isn't he, that you'd want to see back sooner rather than later. But if he does have need surgery, then it's going to be a while as well, isn't it? Before we see him. So the need is there.
Absolutely, there's your three players.
And I think David Moyes, Moyes knows that, and then says, you know, we're going to get it, and that's what we're trying to do. Then you've got to believe him and back him for it, haven't you?
Totally.
Leto, the German Shepherd, says, lads, it's not my dog that has joined just now. Maybe your dog wants to join now, so maybe you need to do another one for you, because then you've got your German Shepherd and you've got you.
Bit of mental torture there, not allowing the dog to join.
Dogs will be like, I can't be bothered. Don't want to get me head wrecked over Everton not bringing players in. He's just worried about his dinner and chasing sticks and everything else that they like to do. And all of that. So, yeah, listen, the countdown is on him. I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe Everton will bring players in. Because I've heard enough David Moyes comments from press conferences.
You've read between the lines, have you?
Not between, because I don't think you need to read between the lines. He's literally said, yes, we need to bring players in. So
he has.
He hasn't he hasn't hidden away from that fact. Youngie says, do you think the Dominic Calvert-Lewin injury could affect any deal he may have verbally agreed with other clubs? If so, would you be happy for him to sign a new contract with us? No, I don't think we should. I don't think we should be a charity case for him now. If other clubs are going to step away, going, oh, please stay with us when he's picked up another injury.
No.
If he said, I'll take half wages, then maybe you look at it like that. But he's not going to do that. Why should he? Why should someone will give him a contract on big money? Because he could just say, listen, it's a freak injury. I jumped for it, header landed, and the way I hit the ground, it's one of them.
And they're saving tens of millions in a transfer fee.
So, Ian the Blue says Texter has just sacked the Lyon manager. He wants Paulo Fonseca, doesn't he? So, Steve says you're on to Evan Gesland from Nice. Looks good this season. 9 league goals and 5. There's a couple who are doing the business in France at the moment who are interesting players, Steve, definitely. There's one of them, Callum Wendo from Rennes. Yeah, definitely. Mark Mack says Josh Brownhill incoming. No, he'll be going with Sean to Leicester when we beat them on Saturday and Rue gets sacked. Right.
You heard it here first, that is it.
I don't think they can afford to sack him. The Leicester lad said yesterday, we can't afford to sack him with the PSR stuff.
Totally.
Because the Championship are waiting for them. The EFL like that. You're getting hammered. If you get relegated in the Premier League, like if you stay up, you're getting done.
Yeah, so absolutely.
They're in a tricky spot right now, Leicester City. Right, make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you very much for all of that. We do him M-Tag at half 2.
He's asleep.
Yeah. M-Tag at half 2. if you
Enjoy.
want to come over there and watch that. See you later.